Hi guys. First thing first, we Armenians do not call ourselves Armenian. Actually, we call ourselves Hai, and this brings us to the first figure in my list, Haik. He is a mythical figure from 4,500 years ago or 2,500 BC, and I'm not sure all the stories about him are correct, but he had a war with Baal. Actually, Baal was the name of a god in Babel, and according to the story, Hai killed him in the war, and after that he founded the country near Lake Van in current Turkey, and now we Armenians call ourselves Hai and our country Hayastan. For second figure, I will pick Darius the Great, king of kings of Persia, from 2,500 years ago or 500 BC. He created a real federal empire, and he had the title of Shahanshah or Kings of Kings, something like current USA. He divided the country, Persian Empire, to different straps or modern states, and one of these states were called Armenia. Name of Armenia for the first time was mentioned in an inscription by him. Then I think it is time for the great Tikran, around 2,000 years ago. At this time, Armenia got to its maximum borders, to maximum extent. But what is important about him is that he established Armenia as a buffer zone between Persian and Roman empires, and this lasted for centuries. As fourth pick, I will choose Saint Grigor. He was just a cleric, not a king or ruler, but Armenia, as the first state in the world, adopted Christianity by his and his friends' efforts. Currently, most of Armenians around the world belong to Saint Grigor established church, and his church is part of our identity, and has a special place in Armenia based on Armenia's constitution. Then Saint Mesrop Mashtots, from around 1,700 years ago, he is considered our current alphabet inventor. But what he did is more than that. He not only introduced his collected or invented alphabet, he and his group and friends established and taught the new alphabet. By 4th century, Armenians are getting in the mold of a modern state, a state with a single religion and a unique language and alphabet. After Saint Mesrop Mashtos, I do not see any significant figure in Armenian history for about 1,200 or 1,300 years. During this period, the region and Middle East was plagued by Arab and Mongol invasion, so it was not that much bright time for anyone in the region. Then it comes Israel Ori. Around 1700s, a man who dedicated his life to freedom of Armenians, he established a trend among Armenians to seek freedom by the help of Russians. His thoughts and ideas was continued by Hovsep Emi. From 1500s to 1700s, Armenia was stage of wars, and it got depopulated by forced evacuation of its population and forcing them to move into Persia. In 100 years, Yerevan castle was changed hands to hand between Persians and Ottomans 17 times. Although Janab Aghay Guzu Ilham Aliyev, son of something Heydar Aliyev, claims that Azaris at that time were the majority in Yerevan, but honestly, even rats would not live in Yerevan at that time. But maybe Nane Ilham Aliyev would. Okay, then I will pick Alexander Gribaidov, a great man who I have a huge respect for. That's the reason I put him here. After Persian-Russian wars, Russian Russians conquered current Armenia, and it was their policy to rehabilitate Armenia with Armenians. Gribaidov was ambassador of Russia in Persia, and he made great efforts to send Persian Armenians into Armenia. Although he lost his life for his cause and in this way, but after all, Armenia now is inhabited by Armenians, and Russians have a strategic ally in South Caucasus ever since. For the last 150 years, I do not see a consequential individual, but I can distinguish two major consequential movements or events. First, Armenian Fedayeen movement, which resulted in Armenian independence in 1918. And second, Karabakh movement, which resulted in Karabakh liberation and expansion of Armenia. And at the end, I will say, Nikol Binamus Bisharaf, return Iranian Armenians' money back to them. These Iranian Armenians, they put their money in banks of Armenia. Then Bolton came to Armenia, visited Armenia around 1 month ago. Then after that, Nikol decided to freeze their money. Now these people, they lost their money, their investment in the banks. They trusted the banks. They trusted that the banks and the banks will be honest. But unfortunately, Nikol, I don't know who is the governor of Armenia. Maybe it's Bolton. So now they are trying to steal their money.